Dr. Lee Min-ho wiped the sweat from his forehead as he carefully cleaned the last bits of shiny dust from the statue's face. His team had been working on the planet Kepler-4 for 2b for 3 months now. They had found many old things, but nothing like this. "This is amazing," whispered Park Sola quietly. She was the team's expert on alien old things. She moved her scanner over the perfectly kept figure. "I have never seen anything like this before." The statue was very tall, almost 3 meters high. It looked like someone had carved it from one big piece of clear blue crystal. Beautiful in a strange way. It had sharp angles, but also looked smooth and gentle. The robes on the statue seemed to move even though they were made of hard stone. "My tests say this is over 1,000 years old," said Kim Tiemann from behind. "His machines? But it looks so new. It's like someone made it yesterday." Choi Haizung was the youngest person on the team. Walked up to the statue with a big smile on his face. "Come on, big brother, make a wish. Kiss the mysterious alien statue for good luck." The other team members laughed at this silly idea, but Minho felt something strange. He kept looking at the peaceful face of the statue. There was something about it that made him want to get closer. "Why not?" Minho said with a small laugh. "For science, right?" He walked closer to the statue. The crystal felt cold near his face. He could see his reflection in the smooth surface. Minho stood on his toes and gently pressed his lips against the statue's forehead. The moment his lips touched the crystal, everything changed. A strong wave of energy rushed through the whole room. The walls seemed to shake. Crystal started to glow, brighter and brighter. Everyone felt the power moving through the air around them. Then the statue's eyes opened. They were not the dead eyes of stone anymore. They were alive and burning with a bright blue light that seemed to come from somewhere far away. The light was so bright that everyone had to look away for a moment. Park Sola screamed loudly. She had never been so scared in her life. Kim Tiemann was so surprised that he dropped all his expensive equipment. It crashed to the floor with loud noises. But the most shocking thing was what happened next. The statue spoke. Finally, awakened. The voice was not like any human voice. It sounded like it came from everywhere at once. It was deep and had a strange music to it. The words seemed to go straight into their minds instead of just into their ears. Minho jumped backwards so fast that he almost fell down. His heart was beating very fast. He could not believe what he was seeing. The thing that had been a statue just seconds ago was now moving. The crystal figure slowly lifted its head. It looked around the room with those bright blue eyes. When it looked at each person, they felt like it could see deep inside them. "What are you?" Minho asked. His voice was shaking. The being that had been a statue started to move more. It lifted one hand and looked at it like it was remembering how to use it. Then it looked back at the humans. "I am, said slowly, like it was trying to remember how to talk. "I am Velthera." Park Sola was still scared, but she was also very curious. This was the most important discovery in human history. Are you, are you from this planet?" "No," Velthera said. The voice was getting stronger now. "I am from far away. I have been sleeping here for a very long time, waiting." "Waiting for what?" asked Kim Tiemann. He was trying to pick up his broken equipment. Velthara looked directly at Minho. "Waiting for someone to wake me up. Your touch. It had life in it. That is what I needed." Choi Haisung was still shocked. "You were really alive this whole time?" "Yes," Velthera said. "My people have ways to sleep for many years. We can become like stone, but we do not die. We wait." The being stepped down. From where it had been standing, its movements were smooth and graceful, like water flowing. The team moved back, but they were too interested to run away. "Why were you waiting?" Minho asked. Velthera's bright eyes became sad. "Because something terrible is coming. Something that destroyed my people long ago. I was left here to warn." "Others? Warn us about what?" Park Sola asked. Velthera looked at each of them again. This time the look was full of worry and fear. "About the end of everything," it said quietly. "About the things that eat worlds. They are coming for your people." 2. The room became very quiet. Nobody knew what to say. They had come here looking for old things, but they had found something that would change everything. Minho looked at his team. They were all scared, but they were also excited. This was bigger than anything they had ever imagined. "Tell us more," he said. Velthara nodded slowly. "I will tell you everything. But first, you must understand something very important." "What?" asked Minho. "Your people are in great danger. Time is running out." The being that had been like stone just moments before now moved like flowing water, stepped down from where it had been standing for so long. The team tried to move back, but they could not. Something invisible was holding them in place. "Do not be afraid," the creature said. But its voice was not coming from its mouth. The words appeared directly inside their heads. "I am Velthara. I come from a group of people called the Zephyrian Collective. I have been sleeping for 1,047 of your years." Dr. Lee Minho was still very shocked. He could barely speak. You are really alive? But you were made of stone, ... "What is a special way my people can sleep?" Velthara said. The alien was looking at each human with those bright blue eyes. "I was waiting for something special to wake me up. I needed a spark of life. Your kiss gave me that spark." Velthara started walking closer to the team. Everyone wanted to run away, but they still could not move. Suddenly, Kim Temin screamed loudly. Thin lines of light were coming from Velthara's fingers and touching his head. "I am reading your memories," Velthara said calmly. "I am learning your language. I am understanding your culture and your history." Kim Temin felt strange. It was not painful, but it was very odd. He could feel something moving around inside his mind. The alien was looking at all his thoughts. In memories, like reading a book, the light lines only lasted for a few seconds. When they disappeared, Kim Temin felt dizzy and sat down on the ground. But something much more scary was happening to Velthara. The alien's face was changing. At first it had looked curious and interested. Now it looked very sad and worried. Then it looked scared. Finally it looked horrified. No. "This cannot be true," Velthara said. The alien's voice was now full of deep sadness. "After studying your people's history, your bodies, the way you live together, I must tell you something terrible." Park Sola finally found her voice. She was still scared, but she had to know. "What do you need to tell us?" Velthara looked at each person one by one. Those bright blue eyes seemed to see deep into their souls. "Your people are going to die. All of them." "What do you mean?" Minho asked. Its voice was shaking. "I have seen everything about your species," Velthara said. "I have seen your wars. I have seen how you fight each other. I have seen how you destroy your own planet. I have seen your history of violence and hate." The alien started walking around. The room, it moved like it was very upset. "My people were once like you. We were smart and strong. We could travel between stars. We built beautiful cities and amazing machines." "What happened to your people?" Choi Hai-sung asked quietly. "We were destroyed," Velthara said simply. "There are things in space that eat all life. We call them the Devourers. They are like machines, but they are alive. They move from planet to planet and eat everything living." Park Sola felt her heart beating fast. "Are you saying these things are coming for us?" "Yes," Velthara said, "but that is not the worst part. The worst part is that your people will not be able to fight them." "Why not?" Minho asked. "We have weapons. We have armies." Velthara looked at him sadly. "Because you cannot work together. My people had the same problem. When the Devourers came, we were fighting each other. We could not stop our wars long enough to fight the real enemy." The alien moved closer to Kim Temin, who was still sitting on the ground. "I have seen your memories. Your people are always fighting. You fight about land. You fight about resources. You fight about ideas. Even when you face danger, you still fight each other." "We can change," Park Sola said. "If we know about this danger, we can work together." Velthara shook its head. "I have studied thousands of species across the galaxy. They all said the same thing. They all believed they could change, but when the time came, they all failed." "So, what happened to them?" Choi Hai-sung asked, even though he was afraid of the answer. "They all died," Velthara said quietly. "Every single one. The devourers ate their worlds and their people. Nothing was left. The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what this meant. If this alien was telling the truth, then all of humanity was in terrible danger. How long do we have? Minho asked. The devourers move slowly, Velthara said, but they have already detected your people. They know you exist. They are coming. Can you help us? Park Sola asked. Can you teach us how to fight them? Velthara looked at her for a long time. I can try, but I do not believe it will work. Your people are too much like mine. You will choose to fight each other instead of fighting the real enemy. You have to try, Minho said. We cannot just give up. Velthara nodded slowly. Yes, we must try. But first, you must understand something very important. What? Asked Kim Taemin. The devourers are not just coming for your world. They're coming for all life in this part of the galaxy. If they succeed, everything will die. Every planet, every animal, every plant, everything. The team looked at each other. They'd come here looking for old artifacts. Instead, they had found news that could mean the end of everything they had ever known. Doomed? Choi Haizong stepped forward. He was not joking anymore. Now he looked very worried and scared. What do you mean we are doomed? Velthara lifted one hand and moved it in the air. Suddenly the whole room filled with pictures made of light. A's pictures were floating in the air like magic. The team could see them clearly, but they could also walk through them. The first picture showed amazing things. There were huge ships flying through space. The ships were beautiful and looked like they were made of crystal and light. There were cities that floated in the air, with tall towers that sparkled like diamonds. Everything looked peaceful and wonderful. This was my world, Velthara said sadly. This was my people at our strongest time. We had everything. We could travel to any star. We could build anything we wanted. We thought we were safe. The pictures changed. Now they showed the same beautiful cities, but something was wrong. Dark. Clouds were covering the sky. The crystal towers were breaking and falling down. People were running in the streets, screaming in fear. 1,000 years ago, my people faced the end of everything, Velthara continued. The devourers came too. Our world. They are like a disease made of metal and machines. They eat all living things. New pictures appeared. These pictures made everyone feel sick and scared. They showed things that looked like giant metal insects. These creatures had many legs and sharp teeth. They were eating everything they could find. They ate plants, animals, and even people. The devourers move from planet to planet, Velthara explained. They eat all life on each world. Then they move to the next planet. They never stop. They never get tired. They just eat and eat and eat. The pictures showed the final battle. The beautiful crystal ships were fighting against millions of metal creatures. There were explosions everywhere. The sky was full of fire and smoke, but there were too many devourers. The crystal ships were losing. Before our civilization died, we did one last thing, Velthara said. We put monitoring stations all over the galaxy. We also put people like me in sleeping chambers. We hoped that future species might be able to do what we could not do. Park Sola was watching the terrible pictures with wide eyes. What could you not do? We could not work together, Velthara said. The alien looked very sad. Even when the devourers were destroying our cities, we were still fighting each other. Some groups wanted to fight the devourers one way. Other groups wanted to fight them a different way. We wasted time arguing instead of fighting. The pictures changed again. Now they showed human history. Now the team could see wars from Earth. They saw soldiers fighting with swords, then with guns, then with bombs. They saw cities being destroyed by humans themselves. After studying your species, I see the same problem, Velthara continued. You fight among yourselves even when facing death. Your history is written in the blood of your own people. Dr. Lee Minho felt his heart become very heavy. You are saying we are going to fail before we even try? Your species shows amazing courage when individuals act alone, Velthara said. You are very smart. You can solve difficult problems, but you cannot work together when it matters most. Kim Taemin was still holding his scanner. It started making loud beeping sounds. The machine was detecting something in space. What is my scanner finding? Velthera looked at the scanner, then looked at all the humans with those bright blue eyes. The Devourers have found your expanding presence in the galaxy. They know you exist now. They are waking up. Waking up. Choi Haisung asked. You mean they were sleeping? They'd sleep between meals? Velthara explained. When they finish eating all life on one part of the galaxy, they go to sleep. They wait until new life grows somewhere else. Then they wake up and start eating again. The pictures in the air changed one more time. They showed space near Earth. There were dark shadows moving between the stars. The shadows were getting closer and closer to the solar system. Are you saying they are coming for us? Kim Teeman asked. His voice was very quiet. They're already on their way, Velthera said. Park Sola felt like she could not breathe. How long do we have? The Devourers move slowly through space, Velthara answered. But they never stop. They will reach your solar system in less than 2 years. 2 years? Minho said. That is not very much time. It is enough time if your people can learn to work together, Velthera said. But based on what I have seen in your memories, I do not think this will happen. The pictures in the air disappeared. The room became dark again. Everyone was quiet. They were all thinking about what they had just learned. So what do we do? Choi Haisung asked. We try, Velthera said. We try to save your people, but I must tell you the truth. I have seen many species try to fight the Devourers. They all failed because they could not stop fighting each other. Maybe we can be different, Park Sola said. But even as she said it, she was not sure she believed it. Maybe, Velthara said, but time is running out. The Devourers are getting closer every day. Kim Taemin looked at his scanner again. It was still beeping. The dark shadows in space were still moving toward Earth. However, Velthara said, and the alien's voice became a little bit stronger, I still have some hope. Before I give up on your people completely, I want to give you one chance. The alien walked to the wall of the chamber. First it looked like just a normal stone wall. But when Velthera touched it, the wall began to change. Parts of it moved away, showing a panel covered with strange symbols. The symbols started to glow with the same blue light as Velthera's eyes. I can give. Use Ephrian technology, Velthera said, while touching the glowing symbols. I can give you weapons that are much stronger than anything your people have. I can give you shields that can protect your cities. I can give you ways to talk to each other faster than light across the galaxy. The panel became brighter. Pictures appeared showing amazing machines and weapons. There were guns that could shoot beams of pure energy. There were shields that could cover entire planets. There were communication devices that could send messages across the galaxy in seconds. This knowledge might give your species a fighting chance against the Devourers, Velthera continued. Park Sola felt her heart fill with hope for the first time since this conversation started. What do we have to do to get this technology? Must prove that humanity can stop fighting itself, Velthera said. The alien turned away from the panel and looked at each human. Hey, you must go back to your world and unite all your governments. You have 1 year to do what no species in galactic history has ever done before. What is that? Minho asked. True. Unity when facing the end of everything, Velthara answered. Choi Haisung started laughing, but it was not a happy laugh. It was a bitter, sad laugh. Have you seen our news programs? We cannot even agree on simple facts. How can we unite against alien monsters? Our governments fight about everything, Park Sola added. They fight about money. They fight about land. They fight about ideas. Some countries hate other countries so much they would rather see them destroyed than work together. Kim Taemin was still looking at his scanner. The politicians on Earth cannot even agree on whether the climate is changing. How can they agree to fight space monsters? I know this seems impossible, Velthara said, but it is the only way. If your people cannot learn to work together, then they will face the Devourers alone. And if we face them alone, Minho asked, though we already knew the answer. Then you will die, Velthera said simply. You will share the same fate as the Zephyrians and all the other species that came before you. The chamber started to fill with a bright white light. It was different from the blue light that came from Velthera. This light seemed to come from everywhere at once. I am sending you back to your ship, Valthera said. You must spread the word about what is coming. You must tell your people about the Devourers. You must convince them to stop fighting each other and work together. The light was getting brighter. The team could feel themselves starting to become lighter, like they were floating. But what if they do not believe us? Park Sola asked quickly. Then you must make them believe, Valthera replied. Show them the proof. Show them the recordings from your equipment. Show them everything you have learned here. What if the governments try to use this technology for war against each other? Kim Taman asked. Then they will lose, Valthara said. The Devourers will come, and divided people will fall. The light was now so bright that they could barely see, but they could still hear Valthera's voice. You have 1 year, the alien said. 1 year to unite your entire species. 1 year to prove that humans can be better than every other species in the galaxy. Dr. Lee Min-ho felt himself being pulled upward by the light. He reached out desperately toward where Valthera was standing. Wait, how will we know if we have succeeded? How will we know if we have done enough? I will know, came Valthera's voice as they started to fade away. And so will they. What do you mean? Min-ho shouted. But the light was taking them away. The Devourers will know if you are united or divided. Valthera's voice was becoming quieter. They can sense unity, can sense division. If you are truly united, they will hesitate. If you are divided, they will attack immediately. Last thing they heard was Valthera saying, Good luck, humans. You will need it. Then everything went white. When the light faded, the team found themselves back on their ship. They were in the same clothes they had worn when they entered the chamber. But now they had recordings on their equipment. They had proof of everything. That had happened. Min-ho looked at his team. Do you think we can do it? Unite all of humanity in 1 year. Park Sola shook her head. It sounds impossible, but we have to try, Kim Taman said. If we do not try, everyone will die. Where do we even start? Choi Hai-sung asked. Min-ho looked out the window of their ship at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Devourers were coming. Us. Somewhere out there, Valthara was waiting to see if humanity could do the impossible. We start with the truth, Min-ho said. We tell everyone what is coming, and we hope they listen.